Hey ho, what do you know? Ebb and flow, not slow. Rise up morning show. Everybody good now. It's Evan, your friend. What the hell is he doing? Why does he do this? Why does he act like this? You want to know? I just gotta be me. And I'm so glad that you're here. It's another week of crypto shenanigans. There always are crypto shenanigans, and we're always going to tell about it here on the show. Laughing because my phone is giving me a hard time again. But we're here, and we're here every day, Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. So be sure you're here with us, hanging out. If you've got questions about crypto, that's what Alex and I do. All the good stuff you love without the hype. I recently saw your video that described it as calm crypto, and I thought, is it that ASMR shit? I love that. How you doing, man?
First of all, it will never be that ASMR shit. It makes my skin crawl. I can't do it, dude. I can't do it. It drives me insane.
Well,
What's up, guys? But no, it's just it's crypto without
Did you get
hyperventilating
enough of that at the shelter
and
and from the
panicking.
rest of TikTok?
Yeah, I come to crypto to relax. All right, Evan.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny actually because someone the other day commented, one of the longtime viewers of the show and someone who leaves me lots of wonderful comments, and they said that they did not take my advice and they gambled $20 on some funny looking meme pre-sale or something. And I was like, I'm gonna push back, and I'm gonna say that if you just described it as gambling $20 on a funny looking meme pre-sale, I think you learned the lesson, and I don't think you did anything wrong. He's like, oh yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And I was
I
like,
mean, isn't that great when you can call it what it is? I mean,
does
accurate
that be
identification, helpful label, and what sounds like, unless this person is from like a super, super, super global South country, a pretty reasonable amount of money that they probably expected to lose.
Yep. Well, this one, like, this dude's not stressing at all.
Man, I love it. God, I love it when people don't stress. Hey, did you get a chance to watch the playback on our video? I didn't see if you texted me back about this. It was looking good, beautiful, and synced up. And then when I took it to YouTube and I was watching the playback yesterday, it seemed like our vocal track was just a little off the video track on our gut check video. Did you happen to see that? I was just curious. And if you're watching here and you're one of our regular people, I see Thomas in the comments, Robbie's in the comments, all our friends are here. If you've seen that YouTube video that we just put up about how to do a gut check, can you confirm for me if the vocal track is off or if it's just me? Because it's only on YouTube, it's not on the file, but it's on my phone and it's on my computer, I swear to God. I think the video leads, or the audio leads the video by like a smidge of a second. And if you haven't seen it, hey, surprise, we're on YouTube. We've got a whole playlist there called Web3 101. That's where it is, Robbie. It's in the Web3 101 playlist. It's in the medium form videos. If you just go to all our videos, it's like, it should be the first or second playlist. They're all about 25 minutes, and they're super focused on a particular topic or lesson, as opposed to the show, which we, kind of range over. No, it looks good? Okay. Okay, good. Good. That's good. That is so weird that I honestly mostly watch YouTube videos I've already seen, like yoga videos and stuff. So I'm not watching the video. So when I see that, I'm like, oh my God. But check it out if you haven't. And then let us know what crypto questions you have, because that's what we're here for. Alex, I don't know what you wanted to talk about today, but I did a little more reading on runes and a little more listening on runes. Took my own advice over the weekend and did some of the homework from our newsletter. And I feel like we're going to have to talk about that more, because that, honestly, the runes protocol, despite the flash in the pan thing, is going to be an interesting change, I think, potentially for the future of Bitcoin, or opens the door, like many things will, for Bitcoin to do other stuff.
Yeah. I'm down. I have a few articles pulled up. One that I just thought was, we've talked about it quite a bit, but Decrypt published a story about Crypto the Game and the winnings being donated to Tornado Cash, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. I was proud of us. I will say that was a great story. That people rallied behind that story. That was a great story to tell.
I highlighted, not to go super deep, and we can kind of talk about this a little bit as you go into more of the rune stuff, but a couple Bitcoin things. So obviously, we had a crazy fee day yesterday. So the Bitcoin fees were insane. They generated it was one of the highest, if not the highest, on record days of fees in Bitcoin's history.
Wow.
Millions and millions and millions of dollars. And like someone fact check me, and I'm going to fact check myself. It was like 70 million plus in fees generated yesterday.
Wow.
Or the day before, immediately post halving.
Yeah, so I actually saw our friend Nick did a video about that. Nick Junis did a video talking about the fees post halving. He's been talking a lot about runes too. And honestly, is somebody that you could probably ask a question to, who I would trust to give you a reasonable answer about it. He did a video observing fees immediately after the halving. And it was predicted after the halving, especially because of the buzz around runes, that folks would be on the network, using the network to do stuff. But it was, he said, an important moment because the fees were more than the costs. And therefore, one of the big arguments around Bitcoin is, once all the supply is gone, like the miners aren't getting block rewards, how are we going to pay them to keep the lights on? There's going to be no incentive. And his argument is, if the network continues to grow and we continue to see activity like this is the first time we are proving with data that fees are a viable, profitable business structure for miners. Just handling the business of the network is enough. Big time, my words are failing me, in the feather in the cap of Bitcoin.
I think the sketchy part is that it's periodically enough, and that despite a time frame where it may not be enough, the job that needs to be done at that point will be no less important.
Yeah.
Which make it interesting. Now, granted, theoretically, by the time we get to the year 2140, when there is no more left to be mined, I would probably think about how many halvings we will have gone through by then, and how many Bitcoin will, or how much. We can't even say how many Bitcoin because we'll be sub one. How many sats will be rewarded for completing a block by that point? Will it still be? What will that look like? I guess that's hard to predict, but interesting to think about.
Robbie says it was normal gas fees last night, so cheap I thought it was wrong. Last night, $10.
Of course,
happy having Angel.
The price of miners has significantly spiked. The electrical cost of miners has increased pretty massively. I imagine that will even out a little bit, but I guess historically that's not really the case. It is a little bit up and down, but it is a pretty. Without turning it here.
Are you on mempool? I was just about to do it for you. Let me do it for you. Unless you're on a different site. Because
this was a tweet just demonstrating the rising cost of miners over the years. It's a pretty up only chart, but obviously, there's some pretty significant, around the bull. These are bull run peaks here, obviously. So interesting.
Pearl has a great suggestion. Could always AI that question. I know you have Gemini on standby. Always. And I am on mempool. So as we talk through this Bitcoin news, this is a website I had seen like once before we looked at it the other night. I had never spent a lot of time here, but it's got a lot of really helpful information about pretty much anything you'd want to know related to Bitcoin mining. Who mined the most recent block, when the next blocks appear to be coming up, how the transactions are ordering for position on the block, kind of jockeying, moving around. You can see memory usage, energy usage, the difficulty adjustment, all kinds of stuff. And then you can look into individual miners. I honestly don't know enough about this dashboard to know what all the buttons do. I just know that this one is the mining button. You can see who has mined the most blocks. Look at this. Brains Pool, probably the best name. Binance. trying to
Foundry.
get their piece of the pie. And Foundry USA, who was it? It was Brains Pool who mined the halving block, but it was Foundry USA, this
No,
monolith here, that mined the first block after the halving. Um, Absolutely wild. When you just look at the,
it was
sort of the monopoly
that
that is.
the halving block itself was mined by via BTC.
Oh, it was via BTC? Oh, sorry. Then Brains Pool was the first one after the halving, and
Yeah.
Foundry was the first one after that.
Yeah.
But as you can see, it's not uncommon for Foundry to be mining a block. They stay mining blocks, people. Check that out. And then,
But do you want to? So, Evan, I have a couple other stories that are not related to Bitcoin, but I'm wondering if perhaps you want to stay on the Bitcoin thing for a minute and just cover some rune stuff instead, and then we
that
can
might be
kind
good
of
because it's topical. And then,
yeah.
yeah, let's float around and do some more. We haven't really sat for a second and looked through the headlines because I think that's,
Yeah.
I do enjoy getting caught up on the news. Really quick, Robbie wanted to know what's the country spread between USA, Russia, etc. I don't know how to tell that from this website. We could certainly learn. I'm going to click view more on this kind of data analytics here. Foundry USA is a United States-based company. I think they're the one that's in Texas. Ant Pool, I also think, is in the United States, but I can check. And they together comprise like 50% of what is represented here. Here, let me just Google it. Where is Ant Pool? Would you call it a Bitcoin mine? I would call it a farm. Bitcoin mining located. Ant Pool Bitcoin miners.
They're all over where there's a few of them. I know. I know
Oh,
there's.
they're headquartered in Beijing, China. So that's interesting. So Foundry USA is about a third. Ant Pool
Well,
is about 22%. Via BTC is the next one with 13%. And let's see where they live.
so Antpool has primary server locations. Here you go. In San Francisco, Dallas, and Amsterdam.
Interesting. Via BTC is global. And I would be willing to bet that all these companies are, to some extent decentralized in that regard. What do the color concentrations mean? Obviously, redder is more, but
Yep. So, for example, here USA has currently just under 40%, 37.84% of the global hash. Canada, 6.5%. Russia, 4.6%. China, 21.1%. Interestingly, Kazakhstan, 13.2%. A couple other heavier concentrations comparatively. Well, not quite. Japan, 0.25%.
how's El Salvador looking?
Malaysia, 2%. El Salvador. Let's come over here and check out all South America. So heaviest in South America looks like Brazil. Brazil's at 1/3%. Venezuela, 0.1%. Mexico, 0.1%. Colombia, 0.1%. Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia.
El Salvador is going to be in that the lap band right there, that little Central America, kind of where it touches.
There's just not very much. Yeah, no, El Salvador's up here. I mean, they're recording at 0.
Interesting. I wonder how that will change over time. So Pearl made an interesting question about just the nature of Bitcoin becoming superseded by something else more innovative, like when quantum computing becomes a thing.
Nah.
I just don't think it's likely. I think as the network grows, I think people will probably just fork it. I think the miners who control a real vested interest in the network are going to want to do that. They're going to have a lot of money and interest and power to lobby for a hard fork or soft fork or something of this network they've really invested in. Not to say it couldn't happen, but in my mind, it seems like that would be a big deal. We were talking about it on the show the other day, Alex. What did you said, was that your biggest event? Was that I said if Bitcoin had a 51% attack, you said if Satoshi opened the wallet was like, what would be the craziest thing in crypto?
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't think it's likely to happen.
I mean, here's the one. Okay. Her name is Anastasia Marshenkova. She's on TikTok. I think it's just a Marshenkova is her name. I'll confirm that. I need to have her name written down because the number of times I've referenced this woman during live streams is a lot. She is a quantum.
She's a quantum girl.
She's a quantum physicist. She has a PhD in quantum physics, and
I just called her the quantum girl. Ugh.
Yeah, yikes. She works primarily with quantum computing, and she has talked a little bit about its impact on cryptocurrency. But she, as someone who works actively in the quantum computing and quantum physics and quantum mechanic, I'm not even smart enough to niche down and say exactly what it is, what area she works in specifically. But I know that she has quite a bit of really good educational content about quantum computing and a little bit of the specifics and nuance there. But she has talked about its impact on Bitcoin. And she says one of the most validating things that I've ever heard from a smart person was that if quantum computing gets to the point where it could break that kind of encryption, it's not coming for Bitcoin. It's coming for the place where there's $1 quadrillion in something. And the vibe that I get is that the people who are housing those computers basically treat them like a nuclear bomb. And that, if quantum computing got to the point where it was able to just be easily deployed to destabilize something like that, Bitcoin is kind of the least of all of our worries because the global monetary system is way less secure than Bitcoin is. And quantum computing is already very definitely a thing that is actively being used to do all sorts of stuff. And none of that effort is really going to trying to destabilize Bitcoin. So this is sort of like the EMP idea, like in the event of an EMP, crypto is stupid because it will go offline. Well, all money is stupid and will go offline if an EMP goes off. There will be nothing to validate your cash even, like you'll be hard trading cash and hoping that one day the grid comes back on, and more likely than not, I think you would just see a full-on regression to the barter system, which just makes more sense anyway. But she has. Let me get her handle and put it in the chat.
That would be a helpful resource.
I just butchered it, and she has tremendous content and tons of videos about all of this stuff. And she would obviously do a better job than I'm about to do paraphrasing her. So hang on.
Good morning, Tori. Tori says about El Salvador, I thought they bought the dip. They definitely do buy the dip, but apparently they're not mining any Bitcoin from that volcano anymore, or at least not enough to make a difference. And the other thing, like I say again, I attended a really great, didn't take good notes, but it was a great talk. Day of seminars with a gentleman at the intersection of quantum and blockchain. For a university in Scotland is where he, is like seated. And he was saying, the SHA-256 encryption that Bitcoin uses, definitely like susceptible to a quantum attack, but the network is, though it isn't done often, easy to upgrade. It is a primary concern for, miners, validators. And there are plenty of languages, language may be the wrong word, encryption methods. Sphinx, he mentioned, Falcon was one, and there was another one that I did not Google.
I always just say that you've got these options, behemoths of encryption methods that are currently, even SHA being used on Bitcoin now, and yet your life savings is probably protected behind a 4-digit PIN on your phone.
Dude, right? And some bankers, willingness not to give up the money when somebody puts a gun in their face. Like that's not a very fail-safe method.
Well, and actually you're specifically instructed to give up the money because their life is not worth the money in that account in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. Jim, I'm excited about quantum networking too. I I don't know when regular folks like us are going to get access to cool quantum stuff. Again, I'd have to go back to this seminar. I think I was working while I was watching it. But I do remember being really excited about all the kind of stuff that was coming. And also the tremendous amount of power that we use for a lot of this stuff. I don't know if you saw this today. Neil was posting about you can get the whole internet if you've got 45 terabytes in one of many different what sounded like those local GPTs people do. I am really curious to see how in the future, like as data becomes smaller, as it is wont to do, our capacity to store information, it shrinks or grows, whichever is the correct way to say that. You know what I'm talking about. And also like the speed at which we create more grows, what outcompetes and how energy is used, how space is used, how realistic it's going to become or not for quantum computing to be a thing for everyday people.
That's a good
Will we
point.
all just go to MIT and use their computer, or will we actually get to access quantum computing in a meaningful way in our lifetime? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the rate of evolution, the rate of evolutionary progress as far as technology is concerned, I mean, we went from, I think the most common way to paraphrase that I've ever heard is that we went from the library to the internet in about a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was then. That was in the late 80s into the early 90s as we kind of transitioned into like, I think the first, someone who probably knows more than this can correct me, but I think the first like readable website or something launched in like 1990. And then, that sort of developed through it. And I know that like my dad, for example, was working on software engineering stuff, but more on like the building side, like the building infrastructure side in the late 80s, which is as like the whole internet thing was kind of being pitched and conceptualized. But just really to point out that like, and here we are now where you'll have, so think about that, for example, right? The span, the speed or the, like now looking back, it sounds silly, but at the time, going from the library as your primary source of research to what the internet is largely now in about 10 years, 1990 to 2000. And then now we could have someone release a new phone like the one that I'm on right now, which has a, 8,000 milliamp hour battery and a 200 megapixel camera sensor and
You
whatever.
probably have close to a terabyte of data on that phone too, right? Yeah, storage.
Yeah, I didn't. Yes, I do actually. It's pretty close. It's like, I think it's half because I didn't want to. But I
In
could
the
put
Read Write
even
Own,
more
Chris
storage
Dixon
in.
talks about being an early computer nerd when he was a teenager. He got a computer from his dad and would go to the military base near his house in Ohio and meet up with these, mostly hobbyists and military folks with their 48-bit machines. And they would, write little bits of information and share them with each other. And that's how you got, software in the early days. And then gradually it was a little more and a little more. But it was, I mean, it was primitive. That was in the 80s before the internet, when it was really the World Wide Web, and really nobody had it. I looked up quantum from MIT just to give people, because I absolutely know nothing about it. According to MIT and McKinsey Sloan, they did a study together. They have estimated that 5,000 quantum computers, like machines, together will be operational by 2030, but that the hardware and software necessary for handling the most complex problems won't be available until 2035 or later. And they said somewhere later in this article before I opened it, something about consumer scale. Hang on. And I've lost it. It looks like, though, at least at that time, people will still have to determine, as they once did with computers, like, if I'm a business owner, am I, a mom and pop printing shop or something like that? Is it feasible for me? You probably won't have a quantum computer. St. Jude down the street from me, I know, is really interested in quantum. But I don't think everybody's going to have access to it, they're saying at that point. Definitely follow somebody else to ask them those questions, because I feel like a like a rube who knows nothing about it talking. I'm learning about it too. I only really know about it as it pertains to crypto. Google is targeting 1 million qubits by the end of the decade, but didn't somebody already do that? I don't know. Something.
That I don't know.
Yeah, I'm out of my, and I don't know about Elon. Somebody, Robbie, you were asking about Elon. That seems like the kind of thing Elon would say, I'm starting a new company tomorrow. It's going to be a quantum computing company, kind of thing.
Well,
And we're selling flamethrowers as a promo.
Yeah, sure. If Elon starts a quantum computing company, that just means he's going to hire a quantum physicist to like work for him and call it his company.
What about a phone where you go somewhere, press go, and teleport there? I think that's what the metaverse is going to look like when we map the brain and you get Neuralink. You're not going to physically probably move in your body there. We've talked about this before, Alex, but when the same technology that makes it possible for an artificial limb to do something with input from your brain, neural signals will be mapped to give feedback from senses like smell, sight, hearing, touch, taste. You and I will do this show. I'm going to call you after the show's done and be like, bro, my coffee tasted so weird this morning. Check it out. And instead of describing it to you, I will just take a sip and transmit it to Alex's brain, and he will understand as if he were experiencing it himself what I am sensing. That's I think probably maybe physical teleportation will happen, but sensory teleportation is definitely already here and is only going to get more enveloped. Smell-o-vision. Can you believe it?
Weird. You know what's crazy too is like all of this stuff that we could talk about is within the realm of imagination. But if you would have described, like, for example, this phone has a feature where if I call someone and they're speaking a different language, I can turn on a feature that will automatically, as in real time, translate their incoming voice to English and my outgoing voice to whatever they're speaking. And would never have imagined, like, that was a sci-fi. The Babelfish was a sci-fi piece of technology from the early 2000s. What movie is that? What? Someone help me out, Tori. I feel like you're.
I thought it was a real thing, Babelfish. It sounded like a real thing.
Well, Babelfish is a language learning platform, but there was a movie where you could put the little Babelfish in your ear and it automatically translates all incoming language so that you can understand it.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, according to Google. That's a fantastic. I mean, that's like you say, we can't imagine it, and it's more or less here.
Yeah, I knew you guys would know, but yeah, see, that's my point. Like, Hitchhikers had the Babelfish, and now the Samsung S24 Ultra does it. And it's just like that will become a standard feature before too long.
Oh yeah.
So things that were sci-fi pipe dreams are now standard features on production cell phones. We can't even begin to imagine what's going to be the sci-fi feature in 20 years. And that's crazy to think about.
Though, I think some people are really good at it. People like Kevin Kelly. I love reading him when we're talking about the future. If you don't know Kevin Kelly, he's a founding editor of Wired magazine, speaks really cogently, has written a lot of books, not pretentious, easy to follow. And he talks about how when you are attempting to predict the future, what is helpful is to think of what seems inevitable, given what you know and observe now. And he has, I think the book is called The Inevitable, in which he outlines, like 6 or 7 trends and gives a few examples of how they exist right now and are likely to continue proliferating in the future. Trends like information moving away from like physical devices that you carry into a cloud online. We're already kind of doing that. Devices getting smaller, countries coming together, globalization continuing, those kind of things. And his argument is, instead of attempting to resist technology so much, it is helpful, if you are concerned about it, to embrace learning, to become curious about it in order to be able to influence it, to participate in the conversation. to have a symbiotic relationship with those kind of changes. He's one of my favorite thinkers who's alive right now talking about that kind of stuff. Another one who's kind of in that same vein was Buckminster Fuller. Alex, are you hip to any of his stuff? Because I feel like you and he reminds me of you in terms of he's got a super mechanical but also creative brain. I feel like you guys would have been friends.
Lightly and vaguely, yes.
Yeah, have not read nearly enough of his work, but he was like a super inventor. Just all the time was looking at, especially like architecture. He was an architecture by trade, but he just had a very spatial mind. He was super cool.
I mean, that's a super specific skill set that I know not everyone has. It's its own piece on a lot of standardized testing. I know that was one of the standout things that bumped my AFQT score when I was testing for military job qualifications.
And Tesla in the comments, Pearl mentions that, how Tesla came up with ideas. Is Tesla the one who inspired Edison to take a nap holding the two balls and drop them? I think I heard this story about Thomas Edison, and I think I'm confusing it right. You got it from Nikola Tesla. He would take naps in the afternoon, and they were idea naps. And what he would do is he would hold two heavy metal balls in his hands, and he would sit in a chair, and he would put his arms at his side, and he would try to go to sleep. And what would happen is his hands would relax and the balls would drop at the moment his sort of conscious mind started to let go. Mm-hmm. And at that moment when the balls dropped and made a clamor, he would get up and write whatever he was thinking before his, conscious, rigid, rule-bound mind took over. And I think he learned it from Tesla. And apparently that's how a lot of his, best ideas for weird, unconventional inventions that are now so conventional we use them every day came up. I have not tried it. First of all, it just sounds like I'd be bitter. Can you imagine, Alex, if you were always trying to take a nap and always waking yourself up all the time? I'd just be cranky.
I vividly remember that is more or less the methodology I had to use in 9th grade when I was forced to read The Grapes of Wrath, which is one of the worst books ever written. And I had to lay on my back and hold it over my face so that when it did inevitably put me to sleep, it would fall and hit me in the head.
I didn't like that book either. I don't Steinbeck is one of those authors who was tedious for me. Yeah, exactly. Tedious and written like, listen here, if Herman Melville and John Steinbeck had gotten together and taken a masterclass or even just a quick seminar with Ernest Hemingway, the world would be a better place. That's all I'm saying. My favorite style of writing is terse, and created and coined by Ernest Hemingway, of course, writing his works of art, and then those long-winded, bloviating blowhards just gave us the world's longest. I mean, dude, this has quickly turned into a hating on classic American literature, but I mean, tell it like it is, though, Alex. It's interesting because then there are a lot of people who hate Hemingway who think, I don't remember who it was, but a lot of his own contemporaries were love to pick on Hemingway. Hemingway is okay for me. He's never written anything that I was like, wow, reading this changed my life, except that story about baby shoes.
But see, okay, I wasn't pitching Hemingway as the solution there from the point of view of his literature was like life changing. Just that, terse. I'm going for
terse. Hemingway is definitely terse.
Well, the word terse came from Hemingway, so he certainly is.
Focus Kid wants to know something that I absolutely am going to go to the internet for an answer on. How do you calibrate your Fibonacci tool on TradingView? Boy, I know almost less about that than I know about quantum computing, which is saying something.
That's 100% a question for someone like Kagan. I know enough to know that Fibonacci retracements is a method of charting, and that is the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah, you know who else I would ask? Usually by the time we get done, I think his handle is DeFi Daddy, is live, and he's always got the charts up, and it's always Trading View, and he clicks around in that thing, and he's happy to help you. I bet if you asked him, he would tell you, because I absolutely don't have the chops to just pull it up and show you. I can tell you on one hand the amount of times I've been to the Trading View website. I just don't tend to use technical analysis.
Nope.
Do you know the author Kate Chopin? I don't. Tori says, let's talk about her next. Is she an example of yet another incredible woman who did something awesome, but we only talk about her male peers? Because I would buy it based on her portrait and the time she was alive. Old Aunt Peggy, Polydor, Dead Men's Shoes. Dead Men's Shoes, that sounds familiar to me. Mm-hmm. We have an unhinged show on Thursday, but this show got unhinged in like the best way really quick today. We went from Bitcoin mining to quantum computing.
The shit talking Herman Melville.
The shit talking John Steinbeck.
I don't think there's enough Herman Melville and John Steinbeck hate on the internet. Is all I'm saying. Those guys are lauded as geniuses and masterminds, and by God, they suck.
I have not read Dead Men's Shoes, and let me just read you the opening line to this story, because this makes me think it's a story worth reading. It never occurred to any person to wonder what would befall Gilma now that Levu Gamish was dead. I love when people are dead at the beginning of a story. I love when it starts out that way.
And you can flip
Sorry
that.
it happened, but
There's Evan's hot take for the day. I love it when people are dead at the beginning of a story.
Or when you find out they were dead the whole time. I do enjoy that. When it's the twist. Okay, all right. Bring me back. We can touch on runes if people want to hear about it. I have an article and an equipped. And honestly, we could just continue answering unhinged questions today.
Yeah, so your resonance, which is still one of my favorite handles.
I do love it.
We've talked about this before, so I think we could cover again quickly. Some advice on where to find good information about how to launch a meme. There's a number of different sources and sites and stuff that you can use. One of the easiest, I think, exclusively no code. You can launch, like, it depends. First of all, it depends what network or what chain you're trying to launch a token on.
That's right.
But I know that pump.fun is like, for me right now, until someone shows me one that's worse, pump.fun is the most degenerate website.
100%. I just went there. So check this out. This is how you know they're all business, and their business is Meme Coin Casino. This is the first thing you see on the website. It's literally the most simple explainer of the whole thing. How it works. Pump prevents rugs. Each coin is a fair launch. No pre-sale, no team allocation. So the other thing about that is it's an easy way to launch meme coins and make it more or less totally compliant. Like, you could screw that up legally, but on those rails, you don't have to worry about it. This is a true, if you're a team, you're just launching tokens and people will find them here. But as an investor, pick a coin you like, buy the coin in the bonding curve, sell it at any time. You are literally pumping and dumping as a social game with your friends. If it reaches a market cap of 69K, then they add 12K of liquidity to Radium and burn it, and it gets listed on bigger exchanges. So they're coming up all the time. Look at that. I mean, these are all new meme coins people are making. Bam, bam, bam. They're so fast. Oh, no, this is what people are buying. My apologies. This is the created one. Created JPUAL. I have not made one here, but we could connect wallets and see what's up. The other tool I would personally recommend if you're looking on Solana is Dex Lab, which is at dexlab.space and looks like this.
It looks slightly more professional.
But they have the options. Let me connect my wallet real quick so you can see. Oh, I'm going to have to get some passwords. Hang on. Hold tight. Oh, no, good. I've already logged in today. So you can create a token right here, and it's a very simple dashboard. It gives you the SPL token standard. So if you want to like customize your token, write a honeypot or something like that. Oh, Alex, by the way, I learned that the SPL token, though it's the most popular meme coin standard and the most popular token standard on Solana, we published what Daniel said about it's impossible to code a honeypot. It apparently is possible. It's just you got to do it from scratch on Solana. Was the thing that I learned. You won't see it on most tokens, but you can see it. You can't see it here though. If somebody is launching a token like this, there are certain standards that you have to follow. You enter the token name, you enter the token symbol. You can make a little project description if you want. It all shows up in a cute dashboard here. You can link a website, a Twitter, a Telegram, a Discord. You can put some tags if you want to like organize it, put a little meme image on it, and then boom, you generate the token. On the next page after that, you can provide liquidity for the token. You can alter the contract so that minting is turned on or off. A couple of other features. There's like 2 or 3 features. I'll absolutely show you the URL again. This is dexlab.space. And before that, Alex was looking at, hang on, I'm going to give you the next one, pump.fun. And those are 2 that you could use right now if you're trying to get into the meme coin casino on Solana. Of course, your meme coin is going to need to get some traction before it gets picked up by, CoinGecko, Binance, anything like that, but Astro Pepe X, they have their own token as well. Crazy. I don't know anything about it. What chain do I recommend? What do you recommend, Alex?
Well, probably if I was going to launch something exclusively for the purpose of it being a meme, I would say either Solana or Base right now. Probably those 2. I think that so it's interesting because there's obviously, been a lot of memes on like the Binance Smart Chain. There's obviously a lot of memes on Ethereum. Ethereum is too expensive. If you want to do ETH stuff, I would just use Base at this point. And Polygon doesn't really have a meme culture. Avalanche sort of does, but there's not very much volume. Even during the height of Solana meme season, there was very light to mediocre volume on Avalanche. So I mean, that's kind of a possibility, but Solana first probably because they've managed to have a culture that like graciously accepted the existence of memes while still being able to do other stuff.
Yeah.
It's not so Pearl. It's not about trusting. I assume that you're just talking about because of network outages, and my answer to that would be that I don't trust Solana not to experience an outage. I don't trust them not to have problems, but I do trust that the people working on the maintenance of that blockchain and the community working on, being the community of that blockchain, they have proven over the last how many years and how many outages, even so recent as the one that we are literally experiencing right now, that they just simply don't care. And Solana has gone through multiple decently lengthed chain-wide outages. The problem right now, which is a multi-week transaction, clog and congestion that made the network nearly unusable. The entire FTX debacle, and they still post all of that did a 20x and then didn't crash any more than anything else did when the network became nearly unusable for several weeks. So I think if anything else, I'm sure that Solana will continue to experience issues because the people just aren't stopping using it. And that says a lot. I was definitely like pretty opposed to it from a tech perspective not that long ago, and I've done a total 180 on it just because I'm like the users just simply don't care. And then I think about it, I'm like, you know what? That really says a lot more about the adoption possibility of a network like that in the Web3 space when you compare it to Web2. Think about how many like just titans of industry there are that have pretty bad user experiences. Some of it might be because there's not a lot of other better options, but like, I don't know, how many people in this chat room right now have Xfinity as a network or an internet service provider?
Yeah, exactly.
I hate them. They are atrocious. It's horrendous customer service. It goes out all the time. It's slow as shit, and it's expensive. But there's not really any better options in a lot of places, and so we all use it, and we just sort of accept that it just sucks. And eventually maybe something else will come around, but I can almost assure you that Xfinity probably won't go anywhere. And there's all sorts of examples of that. I mean, people still drive the Dodge Ram.
I am trying to get my Dodge Ram back. Let me tell you what. Yesterday, Alex, I was thinking about you. I took off some of the different exhaust covers. I'm just opening everything up to get back inside the engine. I did some tests on it to diagnose it and hadn't worked on it again. And took some hoses off. I took the air intake off. I removed the accelerator cable. That was difficult but doable. And now I have like just 15 more proximally difficult repairs to go, and some really difficult repairs to go. Now I gotta put it all back together.
I believe in you. Just remember, Evan, when it's all said and done, Toyota is a thing.
Yeah, when it's said and done, you'll still be driving a Dodge Ram truck. I do have some resources for meme coins on Base. If you wanted to launch a meme token on Base, there are a couple of places you can go, and the one I would really recommend that's actually like fun, I just got to use it for myself the first time the other day, is Party. Party, check this out, is a super usable website where you and your friends can collectively invest in stuff together. Your group on chain, a group chat with a group wallet that can do anything on chain. And you can launch a token in this many clicks. You can choose, is it a token launch? Is it a public mint? Is it a manual invite? If it's a public mint, if you want to do like an NFT, you would do a public mint. And I did this the other day. You would token gate it. You can say like it's a private mint. By token gating it, you got to hold a certain token to participate. NFT gating it, you got to hold a certain NFT to participate. You can have an allow list. You can also make a DAO like this. Is it a governance token? Do you want a voting period? How long's the voting period? How many people have to vote on it to pass your proposal? What's the supply? All kinds of things like that. But if you wanted to make a meme, you just go to token launch. Same thing as DexLab. Add a name, add a symbol, total supply. You're going to send some of the tokens to the party or to yourself? Yes, no. How much? Is there a liquidity pool position? How much? Is there a minimum or maximum people can contribute during a public crowdfund? That kind of thing. And you can launch it on, I guess it's just Base. Or maybe I have to change the network on my wallet. But you can select some media to give it, like a little cute face. It can be custom, or you can make it a party card like this. And this is kind of cool because you can see it's intended for DAOs. You get your name on it. You can have a record of the different kinds of proposals this token has voted on. And you can get it in a variety of cool colors. So, what's not to love about that?
Evan, what's the URL for Party again?
The URL is party.app.
Okay.
And I can confirm there's no fee until you withdraw. And when you withdraw or make a disbursement, the fee is just, is 2.5%. So, kind of a steep fixed fee if you're a meme coin trader and your token is $1 billion market cap, but definitely worth it. And the other one I would recommend is Proxy Studio. Proxy Studio is kind of like Manifold Studio, but on Base. They've been used by a lot of projects that are Farcaster native, to make it easy for people to launch innovative, cool projects. Proxy Studio just partnered with Schloms on Moonbeam, and it was one of the best projects I've seen this year. It was fantastic. Let me see. Join our token gate. Oh, they have a token gated Telegram by connecting your wallet to Collabland. But they're innovating and launching some new stuff. And I think right now they only do tokens in partnership with other people. Like, got to be an official thing. But they are adding a token launcher soon, is what it is, I do believe. Uh-oh, Alex. Pearl says there's a new Dodge Ram coming up.
Oh, there's always a new Dodge Ram coming up.
You know. So that's an option too. There are a couple of options on base, and if you wanted to find more, I'd say go make some friends on Farcaster. I would recommend Warpcast. Use the link in the profile to get a little bonus for the show at no extra cost to you, and start making some friends there. Definitely Base or Solana though, if it's a meme coin. No, I mean via a party meme. Oh, a new Dodge Ram coming up via party meme. Yeah, let's all make a party, and everyone can send me their shit coins and their dust, and maybe I'll have enough to buy a new Dodge Ram.
And we'll build it just like a real Dodge Ram, so that as soon as the liquidity hits 100,000, it rugs you.
You know, mine was trucking along at I think I've got 166,000 miles on that thing, and of course I blew a head gasket, so you know it was time. It was time. But, you know, I'm taking apart the whole engine. I'm going to put stuff back together, and I'll have an opportunity to replace stuff that's broken. So I'll have at least another 100 more before it rugs again, is what I'm hoping for.
I'm just saying, Evan, there's a better way. There's a better way, my guy.
Alex, while we're talking about it, let me ask you, though, what would you use if you were a amateur mechanic like me and you had some time between major repairs and you wanted to polish something up or clean it out? Where do I could ask Google, but I've got you right here. It's probably not vinegar, I'm sure.
What's the question? What do you mean?
I want to clean the parts I'm taking apart as I'm inspecting them, the parts that I plan to reuse that I'm not going to replace. I'll probably replace small stuff like gaskets, but some of the hoses, I mean, appear to be totally fine. You think I should just replace it all? Or like the metal parts, what the hell do I clean that with?
All right, well, two very different questions. What do you clean a hose with, and what do you clean a metal part with? Extremely different. How like for example, if you put certain things on the hoses, you're just going to disintegrate them. How carcinogenic do you want to get, Evan?
Carcinogenic enough that it gets clean. Not so carcinogenic that if I spill some, I can't eat anything from my garden ever again.
Well, if you are, I mean, you can do a lot with WD-40. You can do a lot with vinegar. Those are probably the least cancerous. PD680 will clean absolutely anything, but you will also get leukemia. PD680 is my favorite because, oh my God, it does an incredible job, and we just used to have vats of it in spray and just it sitting in spray bottles at the air station, but the Army literally banned it because of how many people got cancer.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, that means that the Coast Guard bought it on sale from the Army when it became illegal.
I'm loving the comments though. There are some really only the nasty stuff works good. And Jim says just clean all the aluminum with some gallium or mercury.
Yeah. Wally knows
what could go wrong?
680 will clean absolutely anything, but you don't get it on your skin and don't breathe it in.
Kind of wanted to know back to token launching. Token launch or coin launcher. We are talking about launching tokens. I think if you wanted to launch your own, I don't have a recommendation if you wanted to launch your own coin. And if you're new and you're like, what the hell, a coin, a token? I thought they were the same thing. When I'm assuming here, Kai, you're making the distinction. A coin is the token for a particular blockchain used to cover fees on that blockchain that can be mined. So like Bitcoin, Sol, Ether are coins. They are also tokens. All tokens All coins are tokens. Not all tokens are coins. You gotta set up a whole blockchain, and you could just fork one. I'm sure. I'm sure there are blockchain launchers, just like there are token launchers, but I think the demand is lower. And I don't know any to recommend to you, Alex.
Mm.
I would just call a friend. I'd phone a friend and say we're launching a new chain. If you're ready to launch a meme, then yeah, you want pump.fun, probably the easiest. Dex Lab, also easy. If you want to do it on base, party.app. I also, Proxy Studio, like I said, is coming with one soon, a token launcher. You could partner with them if you're somebody who's got a great idea or wants to spend a little money. And 20 Lab is one I just pulled up from a comment on Warpcast. And it looks like you can do a couple of different networks, any ERC20 token. Audited tokens. A number of, potentially real tokens have been here, but some memes too. Like Foreplay AI on the Binance Smart Chain.
There you go.
And Whippet Inu. So, a lot of features to choose from. 22 blockchains supported. And all these sites have a pretty, good community. The party app community is hard to get into. You got to have a Guild XYZ membership that requires some hoops to jump through. But for the most part, you can get on a Discord and talk to somebody if you have problems. You're ready to launch on Linea? Then maybe 20 Lab would be the one. Linea, interesting choice. Why on Linea? I know you said you're driving.
Evan, the actual answer to your question that I didn't answer is, if you are cleaning hoses, the safest thing to use is whatever the hose is using is like transporting. So like clean your brake lines with brake fluid.
Really?
Yeah, because you know that the hose is rated to do that. And that's how a standard like system flush would work. You would just use, either like there are specifically formulated cleaners that you can get for anything, but you can also just use a little bit of the thing.
Like the outside of the hose too?
Oh, clean the outside. Just use soap and water.
Listen, man, I know it seems like a silly question, but I
thought you were talking about flushing the system. Yeah, just use Dawn.
Oh, okay, great. What about for like my metal parts too? I can use Dawn for that. Is it gentle enough, strong enough, and gentle enough?
You can literally power wash the metal stuff.
I'm so out of my element here. I'm excited for getting to learn it, but
just go to AutoZone and get a standard degreaser. PD680 is a degreaser. It's just like obscenely toxic, and you will not be able to buy it. So just get a standard degreaser for the outside of stuff. For the inside of stuff, use whatever that system is designed to use, unless you want to shell out for like really specific niche chemicals to do specific.
It reminds me of learning about blockchain all over again, honestly, in terms of like the feeling of knowing absolutely nothing, and having to learn it all. And I will tell you, I've got this Chilton's manual, which is like my Bible, but this is the best and worst book I've ever read, because yesterday, all I did, Alex, was like a paragraph of repairs. But in order to do this paragraph of repairs on the page, I had to go to at least 6 other chapters and fulfill like the instructions on entire pages. And I just wish they would represent it that way.
I will say too, Evan, that for like car specific things, your brother is a better resource than me.
Yeah. He has been a really good resource, actually. He's been a super resource, and I've been thinking about even trying to get him out here to expedite the work. But I have a friend named Andy who's done a couple of repairs like this, mostly self-taught, and my mechanic Edwin, who is like my expert go-to guy, who I consult with, and then Andy and I do the grunt work. And honestly, we haven't blown anything up yet. The truck already doesn't work, so what's the worst that can happen? I learn a little bit and take it to the scrapyard in the end anyway, and then I'll call you about your recommendations for a Toyota.
That's my recommendation. But no, I always tell people, like, yes, I can vaguely answer these questions, but I am I am an incredibly specific mechanic.
Yeah, I do know
Uh,
that.
and my skill set does not necessarily translate to other mechanical devices. I have the capacity to like learn about them quickly and then understand it. And if you talk to me about it, I get it. But like, if someone asks me like, how do I fix my car? It's making this sound. I'm like, uh, uh, uh I don't know. I'm not a diagnostician for
Yeah.
car mechanics.
No, I get you, man. I get you, and I honestly, I don't know what we did today, how we have meandered through so many topics,
I know it's
and
rough. It's
we
rough.
started talking about crypto, and that was pretty much it. I'm so sorry to everybody watching. Usually, I would say we're not that I certainly enjoy it. If you've got questions about crypto, this is really the place to ask them. We are interested in helping you learn without the hype. We're not going to try and sell you anything. And we don't know everything either. So we're not afraid to tell you when we don't, which, as Alex reminded us in a great video yesterday, is the kind of teacher you need to be looking for. We're here to build community and buy some tokens and try some cool technology and yuck it up with our friends. Like,
Yes.
that's it. We're rising up together. And if you've got questions, Kai Torres says, how about that gummy? I might be more focused if I took one, if I'm being completely honest. Unless you're talking about a token. That would be a great name for a meme token, that gummy. It hits different. You're welcome for the information. That gummy,
Forta.
I got
Never
it
heard of
at
it.
06 Forta. Sorry, I'm catching up too. What'd you say, Alex?
Never heard of Florida.
We can look it up. There's Ryan. Hey, Ryan, welcome. Forta. That gummy, I wonder if it's a token. Toyota Prado, just a quarter Bitcoin. Tempting. Very tempting. I think I'd rather have a quarter Bitcoin if I'm being honest.
Probably.
Okay. That gummy.
Is Forta the ticker or is the ticker Fort? Because I found a project called Forta with a ticker FORT, but I'm not finding a token ticker. Because Fort is tradable on Coinbase.
And I found a token called Gummy. That sounds like the right one. My computer is slow though. I don't know where it's trading and what it's doing.
It is Fort. Okay. It is Fort. Well,
What's think?
$100 million market cap. Less than half of the token is circulating. It's an ETH thing.
Hang on, I'm catching up. I'm closing some tabs. Gummy. Let me get this contract.
Machine learning intelligence project. It's an A. Okay, so it's an AI thing. It is an AI threat monitoring service.
That sounds.
Their most recent post
promising.
is that they detected the hedgy finance hack more than 5 minutes before the exploitation.
Is that a significant amount of time in the hack world, do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, if someone capable is sitting right there, you can do a lot in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. I'm getting over to Dex Screener instead now that I've got the contract. This token Gummy launched on 420. Appropriate. I like that it's on the meme. It looks like it traded about $38 million of volume in the last 24 hours. And once Dex Screener comes up and I can get a better look at this chart, it's already on CoinGecko, which means it's probably too late unless it's going to the moon. It's number 5 on Dex Screener. Alex, I don't know about you, but when we're talking about meme coins, if it's already more than 24 hours old, I start to get wary of it, like how much room it has to grow from here, kind of thing.
Well,
But on the 1 hour chart, look at this chart. This is around the time I would be expecting it to start going to zero. Like that could be the last one, but this could have been the last one. This is the 1 hour chart, by the way, you know?
I mean, for also, it is, that's a little bit more of like a measured growth,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
which is interesting because there's like a couple different trends that memes typically follow. There's like the immediate 4000x, which is 99.999% of the time, followed by a crash to zero. Then there's the like slower measured one, which will probably have more of a slow bleed off. It will eventually just get boring, and then people will have taken enough profits, and people get sick of waiting, and they'll move on to something else because they're like, okay, this one's not going to do a 20,000x. But then also there's the unicorns that sort of emerge and just sort of grow and maintain, and then they develop their little cult, and then the cult screams about it on social media until they get bored or tired.
Yeah, and it's
I mean, millions of dollars in liquidity, at least partially locked with a nearly $200 million market cap. Who knows how much room it has to grow, but that one's probably not going to, it's less likely to go to zero than, the fresh ones.
yeah, at least in the next 5 minutes.
But, at that point too, I don't know that I would, I don't know, it doesn't, these are tough because they don't do anything. So you have to like try to get a bead on the culture of the thing.
3 million is a really tough spot for me to say I'm in. But
Yeah.
what I'm looking at, honestly, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the volume candles. This is the 15-minute now. And, volume went down, but people were asleep and they're waking back up. So around this time yesterday, we had a little more volume, but it's pretty green today, and it's picking back up in terms of, looks like some people sold, but it was holding. It's hard to do technical analysis on a meme token, as we've talked about. This would be one that if enough people were talking about it, I would throw $20 at it, because it's not impossible for it to go to $6 million and for me to make a quick buck. Kai Torres says crypto banter, ran Neuner, backed it, or I don't know what that means, backed it, but I would be interested to find out about that. AB Apes, made by Crypto Never Sleeps. Crypto Never Sleeps made a meme token? Sure, we could look at it. What'd you find about Forta, Alex? What's your conclusion?
I mean, so the service looks really cool. Like if you look at the website, it's a great website. It's clear. I very quickly understand what their mission is. Their protocol is clearly like doing work. They have a lot of huge backers. I don't understand why stuff like this needs a token. Stuff like this doesn't need a token. I hate it. I hate it when something like tries to shoehorn a cryptocurrency when they don't need one, because then it makes it really hard to like it. I think that I feel about Forta the way that I feel about most AI stuff. They're probably just using the token to raise money because it's an effective tool to raise money. But I don't think the token doesn't help them do what they're doing in any way at all. It's completely unnecessary. I would love to be educated by one of these projects that isn't bullshit on like, why do you need a cryptocurrency? Why do you need one so much? Because I don't see it. And I've been looking at these things for years, and I've never understood why they needed one. It just doesn't track to me.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Most of the narrative tokens. That's my big take whenever anybody asks me about a narrative. RWA, gaming, AI, most of these companies don't need a token, and the token they're building is competing somehow, or creating a competing incentive somehow with the product they hope to launch.
It's just, Yes. So nobody could look at Forta and tell me that the project isn't like providing a service that is looks like it's going to help people. Like very clearly, we could use AI to do this kind of thing, right? Like code is being published at a rapid pace. It makes total sense to use AI to screen code and provide an audit sooner than later. It doesn't need a cryptocurrency.
No.
Will the coin do well? Maybe. Will that in any way, shape, or form be indicative of Forta being a good or bad service? No. I don't know. The only reason it bothers me is not because the project isn't cool. It's just because this kind of stuff doesn't need a crypto. They could do their job without a crypto. AI is hot enough that they could probably raise money without a crypto. Ultimately, the crypto is just going to like not do great in the long run. Like it might rip and then it's probably going to peter out and then it's not going to do anything interesting and everyone's going to be salty bag holders about it. And it's going to tarnish the reputation of the project just because they used this as a method to raise money. And it's unfortunate.
Plike, are you in our Discord? And if so, can you send us some information? We really probably, I would recommend individuals. I don't know a good service that would help you with different kinds of recovery. And I'm curious to know more about like what's the address? Maybe we can look it up. And
Sorry,
it's hard for you to share that information here in a way that we can copy it and paste it probably. But if you're in our Discord, it wouldn't be hard for you to send us a DM or post a public address in the general chat or something.
And I did read that you got scammed and you were looking to get tokens back. I meant like literally, did you get scammed in like you sent them to the wrong place?
Right.
That's what I meant. Like there is like no service that you can just extract tokens from someone else's wallet. Unless the
if you lost a
contract was
private
written in
key,
such a way where that's possible. Like,
yeah.
oh, you clicked an airdrop. Okay, so you clicked an airdrop, but how did you lose tokens?
Yeah, did you click on your wallet? Did you sign a transaction? You click an airdrop you thought was legit, you probably connected your wallet, and at that point you might have noticed that your token balance changed before you disconnected. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can poke around and look, but like if things left your wallet and you are trying to get them back, there is probably nothing you can do, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the place I would look I connected wallet, yeah, then latest I saw tokens were gone. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's a phishing scam, man. I'm sorry
you
to tell
got
you, but
drained. You got drained, unfortunately.
that's an extremely low likelihood that the funds, in the event that they're recovered, will be given back to you. I'm just so sorry to say. And the way you can kind of verify what happened, if you want to go on the block, maybe you don't need to verify, but anybody who would be, if it was a big enough exploit, like this was a common protocol they were going to make people write, I would talk to the protocol. If this happened on, for example, I don't know, OpenSea, they probably have a policy about this kind of thing. If you click a bad link on our site, it's on you. That's good. And it's getting harder out here. I got fished for the first time the other day. And I am pretty good now at practicing what I preach in terms of, first of all, I was using a wallet that just had nothing on it, nothing that really mattered to me. But I was moving too quick. There was a link below, a super legitimate link that, was not new. So usually those kind of things get reported. I would say the best thing you can do is alert the project to it. If nobody has reported it yet, you definitely should be the one to go back and tell them. You might be able to get a bounty for it. That would be really helpful for the community, even if you don't. What a great way to make lemonade out of lemons. Definitely report it good. And spread the message for sure. I'm so sorry that happened to you, Blake. If you do want us to talk about it more on the show tomorrow or something like that, send us a message with the contract address and we can look at it. It's never a bad idea to talk about security practices and how we can protect each other and protect ourselves from scams, for sure. Like you said to me, Alex, the best thing about these scams is they're 100% avoidable. I'm so sorry, Blake. Um, Alex, what do you think about the meme of Amish butter apes? Just as a meme. Amish butter apes, that's the meme.
I don't
Does
get
it
it.
ring a bell for you? Does it resonate with you? Because I'm not familiar with it. Like, to me, I'm like, aside from the fact that it's an ape, I don't know why it's relevant.
I don't
Okay.
get it.
Because someone asked us to do this. If crypto never sleeps, it sounds like launched an NFT and a crypto fungible token. But I would say for this, for most memes, it's all about attention. Somebody last night sent me a document, Alex, a Google Doc that reminded me of like some of the project pitches we get with like a whole proposed roadmap and speculative art for these characters in this world that is meant to appeal to Asian investors, particularly in China. After a conversation he'd had with some Chinese cryptocurrency holders about like, you know, some common cultural lore. There was like number lore, there was animal lore, food lore. It was like a 2021 we're building a storytelling universe kind of play with characters nobody knows yet and therefore nobody cares about, and we're going to ask them to start caring about it by selling them a token. Um, Amish Butter Apes gives me the same kind of vibes, knowing nothing about it. The meme coins, I was telling this guy, that do best, if you're like trying to make money in the meme coin industry and you want to launch meme coins and make money, I think the best thing you can probably do is spend a nominal amount of money learning how to launch meme coins, get very good at launching them quickly, know your process, be able to do it in your sleep, and then pay attention. When the Super Bowl happens and I don't know, Taylor Swift falls off the stage, that's a meme coin. Taylor Swift falls token. When Will Smith slaps Chris Rock at the Oscars, slap token. Will Smith token. Get your wife's name out my mouth token. Launch them immediately. That's the best. That's the best strategy for sure. This has $15,000 of liquidity. It's had 7 transactions in the last hour, which were buys. They were small buys. The distribution is, there are only 260 holders, and a handful of them are what I would call whales, with the potential to almost entirely drain the liquidity. The liquidity is locked, and if he's going to talk about it or the community is gaining traction, then it could be a good time to get in. In the vast pasture of meme cryptocurrencies, a new contender churns into the spotlight: Amish Butter Apes, the creamiest meme token on Solana. I don't know.
I'm just so sick of apes.
Me too. Me too.
Like
I'm over
we
apes.
get it. There's 19 billion ape projects.
And I'll say about this too. This one, it goes on and on. I can really tell that Sleep's put a lot of work into the story of this. Q2 2024, launch of the token at a random farmer's market. Introduction of the world's first butter-based smart contract. Q4 inevitable rug pull. Remember we warned you. Like this is, it's got copy, it's got jokes, but I think he spent too much time on it. And more than likely, if the meme hits, it's all about luck. It's all about timing. It's cute. It's fun. I like Sleeps. I think Sleeps is a smart guy, and hope it does well. But don't invest your life savings in this.
I'm allergic to memes made by influencers.
Yeah, honestly, me too. If we made a meme token that was not like Big Pepe in terms of like the purposes of showing you what's going to happen, I almost certainly you would never hear about it. I would never tell you. One, because I don't want to go to jail by accidentally doing something illegal. And two, because, Alex, we just don't want that to be our job. Go buy this token.
It's stupid.
It's kind of stupid. Yeah. If you want to make money as a meme coin launcher, just spray and pray. Get good at making meme tokens and just launch them, launch them, launch them, launch them.
Here's the other reason I don't like it, because I don't like talking about it. I don't want to give attention to someone that I don't know, whose intentions I don't know. I was so sick of hearing about he because he broke a lot of laws and then just aggressively didn't do anything about it, and then just like pretended he was going to do something about it and like actually didn't. And it's just like, I have two options there. I can either I have a couple options, and none of them are good. I can either like talk about it in support and mislead people further into making a bad
Yeah.
decision. I can like call it out for what it actually is and speak about it honestly and then start beef with somebody. And I'm too busy to feud on the internet with some other content creator about their stupid fucking meme. Or I can just ignore it and then make all of the people who want me to talk about it angry that I refuse to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
None of those are good options.
Yeah,
And
they
I
don't
just
help
I
you.
just don't give a shit. Nothing good is going to come from stuff like this, and I have nothing that I can say about it that isn't going to piss someone off.
Yeah.
And I just really wish that, and this is not shade at all to anyone who's ever asked me or asked us
Yeah.
about these specific influencer memes, but I have nothing that I can say to anyone who wants to ask me about an influencer's meme coin that's not going to make them angry. And I just really wish that people would stop asking me about influencers' meme coins because they just,
Mostly the conclusion is the same every time.
yes.
And honestly, we do the same performance every time. Usually I come on and I say, oh, and I find two or three good things to say about it before I say, but really, this is probably, I wouldn't do it. And then you always come in and you say, but can I tell you, there's nothing. It's the Evan and Alex take. It's our show, man.
Okay. So because I fucking said it, it is incredibly illegal to create a token and retain any ownership of any of the supply and then tell
When we
other
talk
people to
about it.
buy it and then financially incentivize them to purchase the token. It's super illegal to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I don't know how Sleeps is talking about this, but if he's like put his name behind it, he's talking about it on his channel. And I assume he's this wallet that holds 7.25% of the supply, which it's possible he bought at a fair launch. But even still, if he's talking about it that way, even still, if he took an
it doesn't,
allocation,
listen,
if he bought it before you did, kind of thing.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you fair launched it and then bought it yourself on the open market. Now you own it and now you control the contract of it. You are still breaking the fucking law. And
Yeah.
it's really easy. And anyone who gives even half of a shit about what they're doing or their audience or not breaking the law or advancing the space could look that up it so easily. This is not like an obscure law that I just happen to have done a lot of research in. It's like really easy to figure this out. And if you went through the process of launching a token that you actually like have liquidity for that people are trading in and out of, and you didn't hire an attorney and do the bare minimum of legal research for both,
For your due
securities
diligence,
laws, AML compliance, and tax legality, you're just straight up breaking the law, and you're an asshole and an idiot.
yeah.
And I've lost all credibility. I've lost all respect for anyone who does that. It makes me very angry.
So, and Ali asked, is this illegal in other countries? The thing to point out here is that if you have investors in the United States who are partaking in this kind of marketing, even if that kind of marketing is legal somewhere else, it doesn't matter because the Securities and Exchange Commission, the CFTC, the organizations that have the power to hold you to task for violating the law, they're going to make sure that if you've wronged even one U.S. consumer, you are culpable, you are liable. And the other thing is the laws and regulations that are in place, most people don't have the infrastructure to abide by. Your favorite influencer is not going to have the means to KYC for a meme token launched on a public marketplace. They are not going to have the means to verify that every purchaser is an accredited investor. The rails don't exist for that. And so as long as somebody somewhere has access to it and they're found promoting it in that way or holding it an incentive, like Alex said, the keys to the contract is a big part of it. There's just so much, and I don't care if you have a lawyer or not. If you're doing those things, like the hee thing, I eventually I left the Telegram. I saw Alex was in there, and every now and then I would check on it and I would search for the word lawyer just to see what the update was. I want the best for Alex. I want the best for everybody who follows Alex. I I don't know who they got. I sent them some recommendations. I think you did too. And I don't know who they're talking to, but I am
No
frankly
one.
concerned about the legal counsel that they're getting because it contrasts with a lot of the information that I have heard, the kind of stuff that we have shared, that we have learned from, legal professionals. I I think it's too late for them, honestly, truly.
Yes, it is.
You know?
And it talking about a future plan for the fact that he broke a law honestly is more illegal than breaking the law in the first place, because now you're like trying to tell people that it's going to get better and don't worry, I have a plan. Like all of this is just stuff that would be so easy to put before a judge and prove was like done to mislead investors.
Yeah, and it
It's
doesn't
really,
matter what his true
listen,
intention was. If you can argue it in a court of law and prove, with ABC, that's what they're looking at, and they can argue it. Wally said, I love your opinions, and I know you didn't mean it. I'm not undercutting you, Wally, but it drives me nuts when people talk about, like, that's just your opinion, man. And of course, if a judge makes a ruling, that's just like their opinion too. But the most informed opinions,
yeah.
right? There's a difference between an opinion and like an observable fact.
Yeah.
The observable fact is like, this is how the law is right now. However you feel about it, like, that's great.
Yeah,
But
listen, we could do this all day. I don't want to give it any more airtime. It's really simple. It's really simple to not break the law with regards to this stuff. It's so easy. Keeping everything in the chat is also illegal. It doesn't matter how concentrated your dissemination of illegal chatter is. It's still illegal. It would be illegal if I did this completely privately and only told Evan about it. Evan would have very easy case to sue me, and he
yeah,
would win that lawsuit. It's really simple. If you have ever financially incentivized someone to buy anything, you broke the law. It's that simple. It is that easy. That's it. Nothing else matters. Not a single other thing. You can continue to compound how hardcore you broke the law. You can always make it more illegal. But if you financially incentivize someone to buy something, you broke the law. That's it. Full stop, period, done. That's why most crypto is illegal.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of it, just goes to show you we got to tell a better story. We've got to help people get that. I heard on a podcast the other day, Alex, Chris Dixon was on a podcast, so I was going to listen to it. He was talking to Rick Rubin, the eclectic music producer. And Rick Rubin gave a masterful interview. He might have said 200 words the whole time, and just sort of directed Chris to talk through more or less his entire book, Read, Write, Own. And one of the things he said was, reading your book and hearing you talk was the first time I understood why blockchain mattered. And Chris went on to describe the metaphor of the casino versus the computer. There's a casino here, but most of what we're doing is about programming contracts, data, relationships, giving a tangible form to intangible things that will help us make meaning with other people and coordinate with them at scale. And it is just amazing how the stories we tell overlook that, don't highlight it, or amplify something else instead. We have so far to go.
Yep.
Can I redirect you and we can ride our horses
Please.
and ponies out of here in just a minute? But some of our last round of questions, we had one from Earthy Hen Vibes that got an answer. What, Alex, does burning mean in the context of tokens?
In the context of tokens, burning means that you send them to a place where they cannot be retrieved.
I see. Retrieved because
the keys to the wallet that you sent them to have been destroyed.
not your keys, not your crypto. If you want to burn crypto, you can create a wallet, throw away the private keys, rip them up, destroy them, do it publicly, whatever. And then people will have confidence that when they send things to that wallet, they can no longer be retrieved.
Yeah, every blockchain has like a hey, can you fucking not? Hey, Echo.
Diplomacy with dogs? Oh, he hit the mute. What'd she do?
No, Echo's just stupid and loud. Just a generally bad dog.
Oh, buddy.
Dude, the other day, um, some dog came up to our fence from the outside and like forced its head through the gate,
Yeah.
and then a struggle ensued. And Zula pushed the gate open, and Echo and Zula took off after this dog, and I instantly was just like, I'm gonna go. I mean, like, just took off sprinting down the street and wasn't carrying at the time, and I'm just like, this is it, dude. Yelled Zula because she's smart and not a moron.
Yeah.
Stopped, and then came back, and Echo just off down the street. Realized quickly he didn't have any backup and stopped because he's a giant wuss and a bad dog. But could have been a catastrophe.
Oh my God. We had two good questions in the chat. The first one is that I'll give you the quick summary. You asked about Crypto the Game. You really should go Google it. We mentioned a Decrypt article earlier. The end game was phenomenally exciting. We got to play a part in telling a much better story, and the TLDR is the community voted on a token that was held in a multisig, to which if it won, the prize money was going to be sent to the Tornado Cash Legal Development Fund. Alexei Pertsev and Roman Storm are in jail. They are the developers of Tornado Cash, and the impending lawsuits against both of them in many different jurisdictions have probably bigger implications than any lawsuit in crypto, and will determine whether it is, at the foundation, legal for people to code using blockchain or not, if they can be prosecuted just for creating stuff. It's not unlike the Silk Road case. And their legal expenses are immense. This is the largest single donation in their Juicebox fundraisers history. 72 ETH went entirely to them. And I hope we get to have Dylan and some of the Crypto the Game team members to talk about it, because it was a really controversial decision in the community. Some people were obviously in favor of it. Some people thought it was wrong and not in the spirit of the thing that a group or a fund should win the game. Fascinating conversations about game theory, what is possible, and the kind of things you'll need to consider when you're playing with tokens. So it was a great story, and I was glad to be part of it. And season 3 is coming. We don't know when, but you can sign up for it. And I'm working with Dylan. I'd love to have him on the show. The second question, Alex, is when IRL events? Are we going to have a meetup soon? And I think, we got to. We don't have anything on the calendar, though, but we're working on it.
Yeah, location would be tough to pick.
Location would be tough to pick. Probably somewhere between me and you. Probably in the mountains of, Georgia or East Tennessee would be a good spot. I'm kind of in favor of get a big spot as opposed to go to a convention center. But also, I get it. You probably you may or may not want to go to camp with a bunch of strangers from the internet, and I wouldn't blame you for that. But before we plan an IRL event, I think we're in agreement that we are working on some more infrastructure for the people in our community to gather more meaningfully online in the meantime. We've got the show, we've got the newsletter, and we've got the free Discord, but a lot of our audience is really not on Discord. So Alex and I are pretty actively exploring different alternatives. We're looking at Circle, we're looking at School, to have more robust online gatherings, pooling of all our resources in one place, that people can have an easier time accessing and build better relationships with each other. I love having you guys here and wish we weren't limited to the characters in the comments. It'd be awesome to have, lives just for our friends, that aren't about discoverability, where we can all actually have a real conversation and people can just hop up and ask us something instead of us having to worry, do they have 1,000 followers? Are they going to say something hateful? So we're working on that and definitely want to do IRL events. And maybe I don't know, maybe it happens at the rescue. Log a dog, hot dog eating contest, anybody?
Can always use the farm.
What do you think, man? Should we give final thoughts, good jokes, words of wisdom, and ride off into the sunset for today?
Sounds good to me.
Tori says she feels like she's in a silo on Warpcast and Dracula.
Yes.
Let's maybe talk about that because I agree. Can we talk about it tomorrow? Will you remind me, or later this week? Tomorrow we're having Will back on the show, Will Watson at coin_guide. The show is going to get significantly more handsome, and we'll probably stay a little more in the topic of crypto.
Probably.
So be sure if you've got crypto questions, that'll be a great day to bring them. What's your final thought, my friend?
I'm good. I think I did enough ranting and yelling today. And
You seemed like you clammed up a bit, and sometimes when I get on a tear, you'll clam up. But I sensed you were just feeling sheepish. I think what you said was necessary. It was important.
Sheepish is not the word. I just don't. It just makes me angry, and it harshes the vibe. And so I feel like I've covered it, and now I'm good, and I have a strong desire to be done.
Yeah.
Talking about all that dumb shit, and I hope that everyone learns something because.
Just gonna give you a little sage here, for your aura or whatever, I guess, for the vibes. Well, my friends, that's it. That's the show for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for being here. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Sign up for the newsletter. Link in our bios. Ask us your questions. Leave us your comments on the most recent YouTube video about how to do a gut check. And join us again on the show. We'd love to see you anytime. And hope to see you tomorrow. Until then, my friends, rise up.